Hello, I'm Nedra Knerk, and I want to welcome Jerome Garcia, Assistant
Darn,
Regional Census.
Jerome Garza.
Garza, thank you, Jerome. Jerome Garza, Assistant Regional Census Manager for the Dallas Regional Census Center, which includes our RGV communities. And we'll welcome you to our Futura RGV discussion on how COVID-19 is affecting our Hidalgo County communities' census data collection. Jerome, I understand you have a Valley connection.
absolutely. My name is Jerome Garza. My Valley connection is my mother. She grew up in Mission, Texas, and her brothers and sisters all graduated from Mission High School. So the Valley is very close to my heart. I know exactly what a Valley girl is because that was my mother, the person I loved so much. And it brings closeness to my heart every time I think of the Valley, and I travel there.
Well, we always like to welcome a Valley boy back to our Valley.
Well,
So
thank you very much.
First I want to thank our Futura RGV sponsors who help us bring these discussions to you, and there they are. And our Futura RGV moderator, Felipe Salinas, will review with Jerome Garza the impact of the recent directive to stop the count at the end of September in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. We know our valleys were woefully undercounted in 2010, and we are even more undercounted at the present. And so now, Felipe, I will turn this over to you and Jerome Garza to help us understand what can be done to increase our count so that we have access to all the funding and the representation in the decade ahead. Felipe?
Thank you, Nedra. Hello, Jerome. Glad to meet you virtually.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Jerome, let's get right into this. First of all, I mean, we all hear, as we know, it was created since the beginning of our nation and so forth. Can you just tell us briefly what is the 2020?
The 2020 census comes around every 10 years. By the U.S. Constitution, it is mandated that we count all people who live in the United States. Again, if you live in the Rio Grande Valley, you're important and you're to be counted. On the questionnaire, it's 10 easy questions. We don't ask for social security number. We don't ask for banking information. We don't ask if you're a U.S. citizen. We ask, what's your name? Jerome Garza. You're halfway there. Keep going. The 9 easy questions right after that. Do you live in a house or apartment? Are you a male or female? Those are the easy things that you can do. What I need everyone to do right now is pick up the telephone and dial 844-330-2020 in English or 844-468-2020 in Spanish and answer 10 easy questions for the census. It's all confidential. Guess what? You can't even go to court and say, I want to know if Jerome Garza filled out the census. No can do. The U.S. Constitution protects your confidentiality. And guess what? We don't break the U.S. Constitution. We believe in it. So answer the census. And I really have 3 easy questions to ask. Is it important to have an elementary school in your neighborhood? Is it important to have a firehouse near your house in a case of emergency? Is it important to have a health clinic near your home in case you need it? If you answer yes to any of those 3, answer the census because those institutions are funded every time you answer the census. It's done once every 10 years. It brings billions and billions of dollars back. You are helping your mayor, your city councilman, your school board member. You help all of them with the funding by being counted. Please go pick up that phone, 844-330-2020, or go on the internet, www.uscis.gov. 2020census.gov. 10 easy questions, guys.
So Jerome, thank you. I mean, you've really brought it down to the bottom line as to why the impact is there. But just to kind of give a little bit more explanation, essentially, why it is important to get this complete account as possible. The numbers, the data is used by Congress, by government agencies in order to determine budgets and those kinds of things. Can you just elaborate on that briefly?
Well, let's bring it down to the local level. I know that if the school districts, when they are planning to build their schools, what they do is they look at these census numbers and they say, okay, let's go look at Edinburgh over there. Oh my goodness, at the north side of Edinburgh, look at how many babies we have and children under the age of 5. We need to be ready 3 years from now in Halibut Elementary School when those children are now ready to go to school.
I see.
That's just one example of how the census helps us. And guess what? You need a school. So be counted.
I see. So basically, it's used at all levels of,
Yes.
of government, local level, all the way to state and federal. So you mentioned briefly a couple of the ways that people can complete the census. I know that all of us received, I think every household in the U.S. apparently, I know received something in the mail several months back, because I remember doing it myself as soon as I got it. I went online and completed the survey. So can you just reiterate for us the ways that people can do this? You mentioned the phone numbers, but there's a couple of other ways. Can you talk about that?
Thank you very much. In March, we mailed out questionnaires or an invitation to everyone to answer the census online. If after the 4th mailing you did not answer the census, we actually mailed to your house a questionnaire. So anybody who has a city-style address, 123 Main Street, McAllen, Texas, you received an invitation and you received a questionnaire. You can fill out that questionnaire, put it back in the mail, and you will be counted. The second option, you can pick up the telephone, 844-330-2020, and answer 10 easy questions. Or you can go on the internet and www.2020census.gov, and again, answer the census, 10 easy questions. With the decennial census, we don't ask for your social security number. We don't ask any banking information. We don't ask if you're a U.S. citizen. The first question is, what's your name? And the persons to be counted is everybody in your household. So if you have a cousin from Dallas, Texas, that's been living with you on April 1, guess what? They're to be counted in the Rio Grande Valley. If your cousin had a baby on March 28th, that baby is to be counted in the Rio Grande Valley. So guys, we need to do it, and it's real important. But
So,
thank you.
So yeah, what I was going to ask next was, I mean, obviously, the original deadline, the final date for the census was a couple of months back, but the pandemic caused that to be forwarded. Can you talk to us a little bit about how the pandemic that we're currently going through, how that has affected the census count efforts? And a little bit about how the Census Bureau is trying to address that in order to get as complete a count possible.
First, let me say we have 42 days left to answer the census. From today, 42 days, and then we have to answer the census. So please pick up your telephone or go to the internet and do that. Originally, the deadline would have been in the August timeframe, but we did extend it out because of the pandemic and what has occurred. In fact, in March, we suspended all operations because what we wanted to do is say, okay, given the circumstances of our community, how is it best that we go out? So now when our employees go out, they all have a mask, they all have hand sanitizer, they stay 6 feet apart, and they knock on your door. And guess what? If you come to that door and you don't have a mask, we will provide a mask to you so that you're safe, we're safe, and we can answer 10 easy questions. Mm-hmm. So we have changed our procedures. We are safe as we go out to the field. But guys, if you see a phone and it says unknown caller, pick it up. We are calling today to ask people, can you come to work? We are still hiring people, still training people today to come work for us so we can go in the field. And we will visit every single housing unit who has not answered the census. So let's talk a little about how many people really have answered the census.
Right. Yes, I was about to ask that. Yeah.
In Hidalgo County, only 49.6% of the households have answered. Starr County, 43.6. Willacy County, 38.8. Cameron, 47.6. So there's some great opportunities of those other housing units to answer the census and be counted. It is important. Let me say that the numbers I give, that doesn't mean that you won't be counted, because we have people going in the field today as we talk, and they are knocking on doors to try and be counted. They're working 7 days a week. They're working from dawn to dusk. They need your help. So I know normally you may have a dog running loose in the yard. Tie it up during this time period so someone can come to your door and answer, and you can answer the census.
So as we were preparing for the interview, you mentioned, I think briefly, that some other parts of the state have higher counts, some of the urban areas to the north of us. Are you doing anything to help us get additional resources here in the Valley in these remaining 42 days that we have left to try to get that count up?
Yes, sir, we are. We are planning in the coming days ahead to send teams of people who are bilingual to go assist in South Texas so that everybody is counted in the Rio Grande Valley for the 2020 census.
Great. I was going to ask you just to, maybe just to kind of wrap up here in a couple of minutes, and then we'll provide people the phone numbers one more time and how to complete it online.
Thank you.
As going through this whole, the pandemic was something that's unprecedented that we've ever had to deal with on a national scale like this. We've had disasters and so forth that have perhaps impacted census counts in other parts of the U.S. for a period of time. But what do you think, from your perspective, working with the Bureau, that we're learning from this experience? What is it that internally do you personally think that the Census Bureau is going to take away from this and prepare? Because this may happen again, right? Do you have any thoughts on that?
The only thing I can say is I am thankful that we have revised our administrative procedures when we go out in the field. We provide all our employees with a face mask. We tell everyone stay 6 feet apart. We provide hand sanitizer. We are even providing masks to our enumerators out in the field for the residents that we visit who don't have a mask or can't afford one, because we want them to be safe too, and we want to do that. So I can only say that I am thankful that we have taken those safety measures, and we should continue to do that and always look. Number one, the goal is to count every person once, only once, and in the right place. We will do that with your assistance. Programs like yourself are so valuable to us to carry the message, to let people know, number one, when you answer the census, it's confidential. Number two, when you answer the census, it is important. It returns money to your community. And number three, when you answer the census, it provides representation. The U.S. Congress is reapportioned every 10 years, and that determines representation. Down to the school board level, every 10 years, they do redistricting so that you have proper representation and your representative is someone of your local community. They look to the census for the data when they draw those districts. So guys, it is important. It is confidential. Take a few minutes, pick up that phone, 844-330-2020. Help us. Be counted. You are important.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jerome. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this, and thank you for sharing those phone numbers once again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I understand you have to get to another call soon, so we appreciate your
Yes, I
taking the
do.
time with us, and we hope to see you back in the Valley sometime soon when you come down to visit family.
You bet. I do too. And thank you for what you're doing. I can't tell you enough. With your help, we will count everybody once, only once, and in the right place.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
All right. So Nedra.
Okay, and I would like to say that it's very important that we all be counted, just as Jerome Garza gave us the information. If you would like to help, contact your congressman and ask them to extend the counting time to December 31st, as was originally requested of Congress way last spring, but it never got through Congress. But that would help tremendously. And Vicente Gonzalez, and I will see if we can't get these phone numbers on the Futura RGV website and Facebook page, but Vicente Gonzalez can be contacted in McAllen at 956-943-3210, or in Washington, D.C. office at 202-225-2531. Philemon Vela can be contacted in Brownsville at 956-544-8352, or his Washington, D.C. office at 202-225-9901. And Henry Cuellar can be contacted. I'm not sure if this is a mobile phone or what, but here in the Valley, 956-337-9482, or his Washington, D.C. office at 202-225-1640. And we'll try to get this information on our webpage and Facebook, but it's very important. Contact your congressman and tell him we have got to get the count extended to December 31st as originally proposed, because otherwise we're going to lose billions of dollars. We lost billions of dollars after the 2010 census because we were undercounted, and we will lose another billions of dollars in the next 10 years if we don't get ourselves counted. Thank you, Felipe.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think one of the reasons that this is so vitally important that, you know, Jerome definitely talked about the importance of how it's not only just how money is allocated or budget decisions are made in Washington, but at the local level by local entities of government, school districts, cities, and counties, and so forth. But another factor that I think we need to keep in mind is it impacts economic development also. Businesses, companies look to establish presence in the region like the Valley will have to look at that demographic data. And if they don't see a big enough market and whatever they're looking for here, because they don't see the numbers, then that can impact those kinds of economic investment decisions also, both from companies choosing to relocate and local businesses trying to figure out what to do in the future. So it's vitally important. It's not just government that relies on this data, it's businesses, it's the business sector also. So anyway, thank you so much, Nedra, for calling attention to the fact that, you know, there's still an opportunity to hopefully get the date extended to give the census workers like Jerome and all of his colleagues more time to get to knock on every single door, because we do need to get that count up significantly. So thank you very much. And we'll visit again with our next interview. Take care.